brand new truck can make money, a clean pre-emission truck can keep more of it. That is the uncomfortable truth behind one of the biggest arguments in American trucking. New rigs are quieter, cleaner, safer, and packed with technology, but a lot of owner-operators still look at older iron and see something modern trucks often struggle to offer: control. Fewer sensors, fewer forced dealer visits, less after-treatment drama. A truck you can understand before a laptop gets involved. These machines are not perfect, and nobody honest says they are, but the right pre-emission rigs earned their reputation by working hard, staying fixable, and letting drivers stay in business. Subscribe to Smart Buy Motors, because here we cut through the shine and talk about the trucks people trust when the load is real, the clock is moving, and downtime hurts. So here are 10 old-school American trucks that explain why so many truckers still prefer pre-emission steel over new machine complexity. Number 10, the Ford CL9000. This cabover is not the truck most people bring up first when they talk about American legends, and that is why it is interesting. The CL9000 came from a time when visibility, tight maneuvering, and overall length mattered more than looking like a rolling chrome monument. For the right operator, it was a practical machine with a commanding view and a short footprint that made docks, yards, and crowded industrial areas easier to handle. Was it luxurious? Not even close. Old cabovers could be loud, firm, and a little rude to your spine. But the CL9000 represents the kind of pre-emission truck drivers still respect, because its problems were usually mechanical, visible, and understandable. No DEF system deciding your schedule is optional. No after-treatment warning turning into a forced derate at the worst possible moment. If something felt wrong, a good mechanic could often chase the issue without needing permission from a computer. That is the appeal. The CL9000 was not loved because it was soft. It was respected because it was honest. In trucking, honest can be more valuable than fancy. Number 9, the GMC Astro 95. The Astro looks like it belongs to a different America because it does. It came from the era when cabovers were serious long-haul tools, not just oddball classics at truck shows. That huge windshield, wide cab, and forward control stance gave drivers a direct connection with the road that modern trucks often filter away. You felt the engine, the trailer, the wind, and every bad patch of pavement. Sometimes that was part of the charm, and sometimes it was a reminder to stretch your back. But the Astro fits this list because it was built around simplicity. With the right mechanical setup and proper care, it could stay useful long after newer trucks would be stuck waiting on sensors, modules, or dealer-only diagnostics. Nobody should pretend an old Astro is easy living. Climbing in and out takes effort, the ride is old school, and age matters a lot. But drivers who like pre-emission rigs are not always chasing comfort first. They are chasing predictability. The Astro gave them a truck they could understand, repair, rebuild, and keep moving. In a business where sitting still can cost more than the repair itself, that kind of predictability is not nostalgia. It is survival math. Number 8, the Ford L Series. This one is not here because it was glamorous. It is here because it was everywhere, doing the jobs that never needed applause. The heavier L Series trucks became familiar in local hauling, dump work, farm service, municipal fleets, and vocational duty where the mission was simple: start, pull, stop, repeat, and survive. That is exactly where pre-emission simplicity makes sense. These trucks were not designed to impress anyone with screens, mood lighting, or complicated driver aids. They were designed to work, get fixed, and go back to work. The cab was basic, the shape was boxy, and the whole thing had the personality of a steel toolbox, but that was the point. A small operator could understand the cost structure. Parts and mechanical knowledge were not impossible to find. Independent shops were more comfortable around them. Modern vocational trucks can be excellent, but emission systems do not always love harsh stop-and-go work, idle time, dust, heat, and short-duty cycles. Older L-Series trucks avoided a lot of that expensive complexity. They were not immune to rust, neglect, or hard miles, but they gave owners a fighting chance. For a business that needs a truck to earn instead of sit, that is a major reason old Ford workhorses still matter. Number 7, the Mack CH613. This is where the countdown starts getting into serious driver loyalty. Mack built its name on toughness, and the CH613 carried that attitude into a more aerodynamic, road-friendly package without losing the work truck soul. It was not the flashiest tractor, and it never needed to be. The CH was built for people who cared more about durability than decoration. Regional work, highway duty, rougher assignments, it could handle a little bit of everything when properly maintained. Paired with the right Mack power and drivetrain, it developed a reputation for being stubborn in the best possible way. That is why pre-emission Mack trucks still get respect. They feel dense, mechanical, and built by people who expected the truck to have a hard life. Compared with newer rigs, an older CH may seem plain inside, but many drivers would rather have plain and dependable than comfortable and constantly angry at its own sensors. Modern trucks can make the driver manage the machine's moods, region cycles, def warnings, derates, electrical faults, and after-treatment issues. The CH613 came from a simpler mindset. It still needed maintenance, and bad examples can be expensive, but a good one feels like a partner in the job. When the load is heavy and the day is long, that matters. Number 6, the early Volvo VNL. This pick matters because pre-emission loyalty is not only about square hoods and old-school noise. The first-generation VNL brought a more modern highway feel into American trucking with better aerodynamics, better ergonomics, and a sleeper environment that was easier to live with than many older tractors. For long-haul drivers, that was a big deal. A truck can be reliable, but if it beats the driver up every mile, it still costs something. The early VNL hit a useful middle ground. It was modern enough to feel comfortable and efficient, but old enough in the right years to avoid the worst after-treatment complexity that frustrates many owners today. With respected engine options and good maintenance, these trucks became serious mile eaters without the same raw punishment as older iron. That is why they belong here. They show that the pre-emission argument is not just about nostalgia. Sometimes the sweet spot is a truck that is comfortable, practical, and still understandable. It may not have the coffee shop romance of a long hood Pete or a W900, but out on the interstate, comfort that keeps earning is powerful. A clean early VNL gives an owner a realistic compromise. Livability, fuel-conscious design, familiar repairs, and fewer expensive surprises from modern emissions equipment. Number 5, the Freightliner FLD120. If American trucking had a plain work shirt, a steel lunchbox, and a firm handshake, it might look like an FLD120. This truck became a fleet and owner-operator staple because it did almost everything well enough without acting precious. It was not exotic, it was not delicate, and it was not trying to be a status symbol, even though plenty of drivers made them look sharp. The FLD120 was popular because it was practical, widely understood, and built around components mechanics knew well. With the right engine, whether Detroit, Cummins, or Caterpillar, depending on the spec, a good FLD could become a serious moneymaker. The support network is a huge part of the story. Parts knowledge is everywhere. Independent shops know them. Drivers know their patterns. Owners learned what failed, what lasted, and what to watch. That is a big advantage over newer trucks where one warning light can turn into a dealer appointment and a parts delay nightmare. The FLD is not perfect. The cab feels dated, the noise is old school, and a neglected one will punish your wallet. But it gives owners options. More repairs can be done without proprietary drama. More issues can be diagnosed by experience. More of the truck feels mechanical instead of mysterious. That is why drivers still respect it. It may not be pretty, but it is honest, and honest trucks keep businesses alive. Number 4, the International 9400. The 9400 is the quiet professional of this list. It did not become as glamorous as a Peterbilt 379 or as instantly recognized as a Kenworth W900, but that is exactly what makes it a smart pick. This was a serious highway tractor with a practical conventional layout, a usable cab, and the kind of working reputation fleets and owner-operators could understand. It had enough hood to feel like a real American road truck, but it was not priced purely on mythology. That matters today because the most famous pre-emission trucks can get expensive fast. A clean 9400 can represent the less emotional side of the old truck market. Function first, ego second. With the right powertrain and maintenance history, it could handle long days without demanding celebrity treatment. The appeal is simple. It gives drivers a familiar platform, straightforward serviceability, and fewer modern emissions headaches. It is not promising luxury. It is promising a better chance of knowing what went wrong, fixing it, and getting back to earning. That is the kind of promise truckers actually believe. The 9400 may not be the poster on the garage wall, but for many practical operators, that is a feature, not a flaw. Number 3, the Freightliner Classic XL. Take the practicality of old Freightliner thinking, stretch the hood, add some road presence, and you get a truck that makes owner-operators pay attention. The Classic XL gave drivers a traditional American look without completely giving up serviceability. It could be spec'd with respected engines, big sleepers, and enough personality to make a driver feel proud every time he walked across the lot. That pride matters. Trucking is hard, and a machine you actually like can make the job feel different. But the Classic XL is not here just because it looks right. It belongs because it sits at the center of the pre-emission value argument. A good one offers serious long-haul capability, familiar mechanical systems, broad parts support, and a platform that can be personalized without turning into a software project. It will not behave like a modern aerodynamic fuel saver, and a rough example can become an expensive decoration very quickly. But a clean Classic XL with the right maintenance record still feels like a proper truck, not a complicated appliance pulling a trailer. It combines emotional appeal with real-world repairability. That is a rare mix, and it is exactly why drivers still chase them. Number 2, the Peterbilt 379. This truck is so famous that it almost becomes difficult to discuss, honestly. The 379 is one of the defining images of American trucking. Long hood, clean lines, strong stance, and a shape that still makes people turn their heads. But it is not respected only because it looks good. The 379 was a durable, configurable, owner-operator-friendly platform that could be set up for serious highway work and kept alive for a very long time. That is what separates an icon from a poster. Drivers like it because it feels built around the person operating it. The cab is simple and familiar. The long hood view is part of the experience. The ride can be excellent for its era when the truck is set up well. And the parts restoration and customization world around it is massive. That makes ownership feel possible in a way many modern trucks do not. The downside is obvious. Clean 379s are not cheap, and some sellers price them like they were built from rare metals. But demand exists for a reason. Truckers trust the platform. They trust the engines these trucks often carry. They trust the fact that a 379 can be repaired, rebuilt, and understood without making the owner a hostage to emission system failures. It is not the cheapest answer, but it is one of the clearest reasons old trucks still have power. Number 1, the Mack Super-Liner. If there is one truck on this list that captures the raw, old-school spirit of pre-emission trucking, it is this one. The Super-Liner was never about being sleek or trendy. It was about strength, durability, and the kind of mechanical honesty truckers still trust. Built for heavy work and serious abuse, it earned respect because it felt overbuilt in the best possible way. With its tough chassis, big power potential, and no-nonsense Mack character, this was the kind of truck that made drivers feel like they were running real equipment, not babysitting a complicated system. That is exactly why it fits this title so well. A good Super-Liner represents everything many truckers miss in newer rigs. Fewer electronics, fewer emissions headaches, easier diagnosis, and a stronger sense of control over the machine. It was not the most refined truck on the road, and it was never pretending to be, but when the job was hard and the miles were long, the Super-Liner had the kind of reputation that mattered. It was built to work, built to last, and built in an era when toughness came first, which is why for many drivers, it still feels like the purest answer to why pre-emission trucks remain so respected. That is why pre-emission trucks still matter. Not because every old rig beats every new one, but because the best old trucks gave drivers confidence. Confidence that a problem could be understood. Confidence that a repair was possible. Confidence that maintenance, mechanical knowledge, and a good owner still meant something. New trucks have their place, but old school steel still has a serious argument. Subscribe to Smart Buy Motors for more honest truck and automotive rankings built for people who actually care about the machines behind the story.